Not weird for her to be playing in the front row, and hey, getting a kill, obviously something the Red Raiders weren't expecting.
Set to the outside, and the big swing from the right side from Bren Williams, the junior, out of right down the road in Mansfield. Had 13 kills against Baylor in their loss down in Waco the other day. She'll be back to serve here for Texas Tech. That one long, and she sends it past the end line. So some of the changes for TCU is they get the seniors in. Seth Bramschreiber, who will serve now. We saw her a moment ago. Coach Williams also getting Stephanie Young into the starting lineup today. She's seen more court time recently. Ashley Borland also in the starting lineup along with Melanie Power. Those are your seniors here tonight. Out of system ball there, and that one blocked on the swing by Jalen Gibson. And there was a little disorganization that time for TCU.
And, you know, it's tough to start out. Gibson getting kind of a junk inside set ball. That Red Raider block is just sitting on that waiting.
Maddie Correa with the serve into the net. Back-to-back service errors for the Red Raiders. Alice Volpe will serve. That's set way behind the 10-foot line and looked like even out of bounds. And on the swing that time from Mia Wesley, who you highlighted a moment ago, no chance really to get that ball over the net.
And, you know, something the Red Raiders we're seeing here is just difficulty in receiving TCU's serve and running in-system offense.
Partially blocked, dug out nicely by Bramschreiber. The tip by Para, kept off the floor somehow, and Melanie Para thought the point was over, jumps back to her feet and gets the block.
And, you know, we talked about Melanie Parr at the top of the match, too. That's who she is. She's caught off guard, but it just kind of makes her even better. It looks like that ball was up, and she just said, well, I'm going to keep playing until I hear that whistle.
Big swing in the middle that time. Reagan Linen, the grad student out of Amarillo, transferred in from Southern Mississippi. Back to serve, Emily Contreras. Had a couple aces against the Bears, but serves into the net here. Houston had some problems serving against TCU on Wednesday night.
And that's definitely, there's about two important factors going on. Not only just the nerves beginning a match, but a different gym too. So Scholmeyer Arena being pretty big, it's hard to kind of get your bearings, and the serve is the number one thing that gets affected. Kept
up off the floor by Tech after the block by TCU. Good job defensively by the Red Raiders. Back row attack from Gibson. And again, a nice dig by Texas Tech, and finally terminated by the Red Raiders, as that was Williams with the kill.
And Williams definitely a hot player for the Raiders. She's one of those players, if she's on early in the match, she's going to continue to just build on that.
Tech able to get the serve in. Quick set in the middle for Sylvester. Para and the block set up for TCU, but that one tooled off the block and out of bounds. So a point for Texas Tech. And it looks like
good eye by Coach Williams and TCU staff.
Melanie Para, who had 7 aces against Houston, comes up short with that one.
And Melanie Para's hybrid jump serve is definitely one that if she is on for the night, it's not going to stop. And like you said, Chuck, Wednesday night, that was the case.
Reagan Linen. Stephanie Young. That's the benefit of having a setter that comes in over 6 foot tall.
Definitely, and a left-handed one for that matter. So that's why she makes this setter dump look so easy. And it's that middle kind of campfire area on the court that usually there's really no one that can get to as quickly as you would think.
Jalen Clark who in that 5th set against Houston was terrific from the service line. She got them on TCU on a 5-0 run, but Tech quickly terminating that rally. Sylvester rotates back in, or rather rotates out as TCU makes a couple of substitutions. That time the block set up perfectly. Alexis Robertson going off 1 foot, had it blocked.
And this was such a successful attack for Alexis Robertson the other day against Houston. That time, you know, it's that setter connection for her that she's really going to have to keep an eye on.
Seth Bramschreiber tooling that one off the block. Nice job by Bramschreiber. You noted earlier that she came here as an outside hitter and or right side, and has been basically a libero defensive player over the last couple of years. Back in the attacking position now. That ball set a little too tight to the net for Jalen Gibson. And TCU gets the block up, and the Horned Frogs will win the point.
And so far, really, TCU hasn't had some really big swings, but just kind of keeping it on the Red Raiders side and letting them make the mistakes.
There's the block by TCU. Robertson with the block for the Horned Frogs.
And I think Bramschreiber also, look how she sets this block up here. Robertson doesn't have to move that far, so really Bramschreiber just set her up so well. She had to take 1 step for that block.
Stephanie Young comes up short on the serve. The graduate setter, originally from Frisco, went to Reedy High School. A couple of stops along the way, A&M Corpus Christi and FAU before TCU. She was injured through the early part of the season, just over the last couple of weeks, really starting to see more time on the court. And there's the first kill for Jalen Gibson tonight.
And Jalen Gibson is so good on this cross play. So it's where she swings around and hits out of the middle. So you can see that 1-against-1 situation makes it easy for her to pick and choose where she wants to take a swing there.
Bramschreiber on the overpass. It's pulled back. That ball just batted around at the net. And Robertson wins it for the Horned Frogs. It was a good job by Tech to even get that or keep that ball on their side of the net to even give themselves a chance.
I was expecting a few, whistles during that, those 3 or 4 of those touches.
Set to the outside, and there's a huge swing cross-court kill from Mia Wesley out of Orem, Utah, in the Southern Miss transfer.
And just a nice, heavy, deep corner kill her between those TCU defenders.
Had 9 kills against the Baylor Bears earlier this week. Bump set for Jalen Gibson. Gibson had a pretty good night against Houston, 15 kills, 24 digs.
And something about her position as a right side player, you see that bump set that Young just kind of lays up there for Gibson. She really waits behind it and then explodes into the ball.
Dug out by Stephanie Young. There's Melanie Parra. A patented cross-court kill for Melanie Parra. And a timeout taken on the floor. We're in the first set. Horned Frogs on
10%. And you look at the hitting and the offense right now from both sides, and Texas Tech really has just made some mistakes or has been stopped by TCU. So, Coach Williams has got to be happy the way that the Frogs are playing. And really, this match so far is about keeping the ball air-free and getting it on the Red Raiders side and seeing how they respond. And so far, it's worked with this score.
Alice Volpe with the serve for the Horned Frogs. Off-speed ball that time. And there's Gibson going down the line for her 3rd kill of the match.
It's nice to see a change in speed with Jalen Gibson hitting this quick set, but check out that dig from Seth Bramschreiber, laying out there and delivering just the perfect dig to run that in-system ball.
Back row attack coming down the pipe and picking up the kill, Bren Williams, the junior outside hitter from Mansfield. And led the way with 13 kills the other night against Baylor. Emily Contreras to serve. Somehow kept off the floor. Now they're going to whistle it dead. Let's say that ball hit the floor before Tech could get it up.
And definitely no protest there. So good job on the Red Raiders, just continuing to play and seeing if anyone would catch on that that ball definitely hit the floor.
Gibson with the serve. On the dump, TCU able to dig it out, get it over the net. Para way off the net, able to get it over. That one blocked, kept alive by Wesley. Wesley again. Good rally by both teams here. And when you need a point, find 23, and Melody Parra able to terminate it for the Horned Frogs.
And definitely, I like to call that one of her vamos swings, where it's a long rally that she just ends with one of her favorites, that kind of in-between deep and sharp angle attack.
That service long from Jalen Gibson. Melanie Parra, a semifinalist for National Player of the Year. She was two-time Player of the Year, or Player of the Week to start the season. Pipe attack from Gibson. Jalen with 4 kills.
And definitely in a rhythm. So you see this quick set out of the back row. So that's on purpose. Gibson is starting her approach actually before Stephanie Young is setting the ball.
TCU making substitutions on this rotation, and Carlos Tamez, the second referee, making sure that they're getting it right as to who can rotate in and who has to stay on the floor. Okay, no, well, you come out, you come in, you come out.
And I think the goal of Williams was to get Ashlyn Borland in the game, being a senior, being a setter. So doing a double substitution to have Ashlyn in the back row and then Becca Kelly in the front, that didn't work out.
A lot of smiles on the TCU bench right now. And I think Carlos Tam is trying to go over to the scorer's table and see if everything's squared away from the perspective of the folks keeping score here on the bench.
There's a lot of deletes being pressed on computers and retyping and deleting. And
well, after all of that, we're back to action here. 19-11 TCU lead, and Melanie Parra with the serve. Big swing that time from Bren Williams.
Williams, that hot hitter. I mean, we talked about at the beginning of the match, from the get-go, she's going full, and she loves that angle. So if I'm that TCU block, I'm going to take a step in and see if she can give me something different.
Leads all scorers now with 5 kills. Quick set in the middle. Sarah Sylvester for the Horned Frogs. And now some wholesale changes for TCU. On this rotation, they'll change out 3 different players to get a look at Sylvester's kill there.
And something about Sylvester, we talked so much about her blocking. She's just been so successful. But offensively, too, what I love about her is she is available. She does not care how she gets a point. She is going to get that ball somewhere on the other side of the court. And most of the time, she scores.
Jalen Clark with a short float serve. And she'll pick up the first ace of the match. Well, we saw her in the 5th set against Houston get the Frogs on a 5-0 run that really sealed the deal for TCU when, at a point when they needed to get points with that same kind of just
but yeah, players like Jalen Clark just able to be consistent, super reliable.
Melanie Parra striding back onto the floor. Last time here at Schollmeyer Arena, barring TCU hosting a postseason match, which is still in the realm of possibility for the Horned Frogs. They come in with an RPI of 16. There's the set on the outside. This time TCU had the block up, and it lands in just inside the red line on the floor. The block by Roberson.
And I love the Becca Kelly-Roberson, duo there. Look at that size of that block, and also in sync. Very well done.
Another short serve, tough ball to handle. That one is long. Seth Bramschreiber has not played in an offensive position much at all over the last couple of years, but doing a really nice job here tonight.
And I think just in general, TCU with a few different faces, Bramschreiber and then Becca Kelly playing right side. It's interesting. I'm really liking what I'm seeing.
And there's a net violation against the Horned Frogs. Looked like Becca Kelly might have clipped the net when she was jumping to try and set up the block. Swing and a miss at the net, but TCU somehow able to get it over. The stuff block that time at the net. It looked like it was Reagan Linen, or perhaps Emily Merrick got the bulk of that ball. The grad transfer out of Flower Mound, transferred in from Tennessee. Kelly with a big swing and kept alive. That ball is out. I was looking on the floor for TCU as to who would be the setter in this lineup that they have here. It's hard to figure out. The top part of the league has been very good all year long and continues to be. TCU and Jason Williams talking about the potential to be able to host in the tournament coming up in a few weeks, but he felt like they would have to win out in order to have that happen.
Oh, definitely do that, and then it also depends on what some other, matches are going on, what the results are with some various teams around the Big 12 and the country, actually, to see if TCU will end up hosting. And Coach Williams did say it might well be where we do host, but we end up being matched up with, someone ranked just below us, and it's a tough one. But nevertheless, you want to be at home if you're playing any tough team. So it just sets everyone up for some success playing at home.
And if that were to happen, it's the first time, it would be the first time that TCU has ever hosted a postseason volleyball match in the NCAA tournament. And we talk about Coach Williams and the job he's done since taking over this program just 3 years ago. They've been able to make it to the NCAAs in the first 2 years that he's been here and win their opening match. So, he's starting to really build a program here in Fort Worth.
Definitely impressive.
Bramschreiber with the serve. And on the overpass right there was Wesley for the kill. Mia Wesley, just her second kill so far in this match. She is one of the big threats, or the biggest threat really, for the Red Raiders, averaging 3 1/3 kills per set. Backside set for Gibson, squeezes it in that far corner.
And Gibson's ability to speed up when she sees that set come out of Young's hands here. So it's a little bit faster than she's used to seeing, but it doesn't matter for Gibson. She speeds up and she tags that deep corner of the court where really it's no man's land.
5 kills for her, hitting .500. Had a double-double the other night against Houston and averaging just under 3.5 kills per set. Back row attack, and that time TCU got the block up as Williams came down the pipe.
And all Robertson really had to do was just stick it and jump straight up. So really looking at that right arm of Williams, and it's all about the timing there. Really beautiful job waiting for Robertson.
That was Emily Merrick. It's kind of an awkward swing. I don't know if she took it, it looked like took it with a left arm.
Yeah, so, you know, lefty just keeping it in the court. It was definitely a wide set, and there's really only one place you can go when you're the set is that wide. The way the angles work, that's the spot.
Set to the outside for Wesley.
And a little bit of different style of volleyball here. TCU definitely playing a fast offense, and the Red Raiders, you know, a little bit higher, kind of slowed down offense. Executing it well so far, but just two different styles going on the court right now.
Young sets Para. Melanie with the cross-court kill off the deflection of Wesley.
And really, this is what Melanie Para wants to do. She wants to hit every single sharp angle that exists on the court. So she's going to use every opportunity possible to do that.
Wesley able to get that one off the hands of the TCU blocker. Well, even though it ended up out of bounds, it was touched by TCU at the net. Young does a nice job to keep that in. Gets it to Pyra, but the block by Bohr. So that was perfectly timed here.
And definitely a big swing by Melanie Parr in that 1-against-1. I think Parr wanted to save a little bit of a tight set there.
And again, the block by Tech. 2 big blocks in a row by Texas Tech. This time it's Correa in the middle.
And just kind of answering back with what Robertson was doing, just following the right arm of that attacker and jumping up.
This time Melanie Parra able to terminate that rally. Melanie Parra to serve for the Horned Frogs. Tough ball to handle. Good job by Tech to keep it off the floor. Bram Schreiber. And Williams has been the most consistent Red Raider to this point. Leads all scorers now with 7 kills.
And she's just stuck with her style. She's gone hard every swing, and that's exactly what she's doing here. She's, with her power, getting it through that TCU block.
Playing essentially at home here. Serve short by Lynan. Third service error for, or check that, 4th service error for Tech as Volpe will serve. And again, Williams. And the block by Tech as Williams got a piece of it.
And definitely a really good read by Williams, knowing that Stephanie Young for TCU likes to go over on 2. She's a left-handed setter, so if she's going over, she's going to be able to hit with that left hand.
Back row attack from Jalen Gibson on the right side. And Gibson now with 6 kills to lead the way for the Horned Frogs.
And Gibson leading the team, I think, just with consistency right now. I think not only with kills, but she's been really smart with her attacks and kind of the go-to for TCU offense right now.
The block by Sylvester. Well, the thing about Jalen Gibson is, everybody focuses on Melanie Parra, and TCU needed somebody else to step up, and it's been Gibson of late.
Yeah, and I think also Gibson has really connected with both setters, Lily Nicholson and Stephanie Young. So just a solid all-around. And then you got to think about her defense contribution too.
Seth Bramschreiber with the kill.
And Bramschreiber springing off the ground here. So really great in that 1-against-1 scenario. Young kind of feeding her, getting her in a position to score.
Service ace for TCU. Third ace of the match for the Horned Frogs. This time it's Stephanie Young. Well, it's been interesting with Bramschreiber and Borland we've seen tonight. We have not seen Evan Henricks, who's been playing extremely well for the Horned Frogs so far in this match. That one clipped the tape and was able to get through the block as just that little deviation of the ball after it hit the tape. And Williams will serve here for the Red Raiders. That one side out. As trying to go down the line was Bramschreiber. Williams comes up short on the serve.
One thing, I think TCU is playing pretty free and relaxed. I think the players that are on the court that we're used to seeing in and out, Seth Bramschreiber, Stephanie Young, they have the feeling of, hey, we're out here, we're seniors, we're going to be playing. As long as we're winning, we're on the court. We're not going to get subbed out. We're not going to go back to what we've been doing. And you can kind of tell, still a close score, but also like just a free sort of feeling on the TCU side.
Bramschreiber with the ace. And another one. Snuck it just inside the end line. And Seth Bramschreiber with the start, playing extremely well tonight for the Horned Frogs. Couple of aces. 3 kills.
And a block.
And
we'll take it.
Point for the Horned Frogs. Texas Tech lobbying for a tip. But Tony Greystone not pulling out the challenge card here, as he was not convinced by the sell job of his team. And TCU again with the block on Wesley. Sarah Sylvester with another block for the Horned Frogs. That's their 6th of the match.
And Tech just having a hard time serve receive right now. So putting those hitters in that out of system scenario. Sylvester just stopping short there, not closing the block with Gibson, but reading the ball and stopping short.
They go back outside for Wesley. This time TCU got a piece of it, but unable to block it. Melanie Parra goes cross court for her 5th kill of the match. And a timeout taken. TCU up 5 here in a second set, leading 1-0. We'll back with more in the second set right after this.
5 digs, 1 block. Let's talk about the serving though right now. She's gotten some aces, and when she's not getting an ace, she's putting the Red Raiders into serve receive trouble, which is the struggle they're dealing with right now. So Bramschreiber really just putting that pressure on Texas Tech right now, and the Red Raiders need to get out of this rotation they're in. They need to be able to run their system, which means get the pass to the setter.
4-0 scoring run, and that will end here on the swing by Wesley. Stephanie Young was there, just couldn't get a hand on it cleanly. Kind of deflected off of her. Back to serve, Maddie Correa, the senior out of San Antonio. Para goes to the tip and ends up on the floor on the wrong side of the net. Gets a helping hand from Emily Merrick. It was a tough serve for Para to handle, and then the set was a little too close to the net for her. And again, that time it's a service ace as Melanie cannot get down to the floor and handle it cleanly. So a good job by Correa of serving at Melanie Para. And we've seen this at times during the year where sometimes your best way to attack Melanie is to go right at her and force her to make a play. Gibson able to flick her wrist and get that one over. Wesley. Left-handed swing from Merrick, and she picks up the kill.
And Merrick, 6'4" lefty, so talk about a deep, heavy swing, and different look for TCU too, so always with a left-handed attacker. Sometimes hard to remember what to look at and different angles that you don't normally see in practice.
4-0 run for Tech here. It's closed it to a point. And TCU will end it with Jalen Gibson scoring from the outside. 7th kill of the night for her.
And Gibson is, I think, just in all done a great job of working with what she's given. So that time it was a little bit of a lower set than she's used to, but she just she had a quicker arm. She sped it up and stopped her wrist and got a deep swing.
And again, it's the lefty, Merrick, the Tennessee transfer, with her 4th kill.
And I would not be surprised if Texas Tech is able to pass the ball, getting that ball to Merrick when Merrick's in the front row. She's their go-to. When she's on, she's going to carry the team.
Contreras with the serve. Para had it partially blocked. Wesley able to get that one off the fingertips of the TCU blocker. Emily Contreras, the sophomore out of Austin, went to Lake Travis High School. Had a couple aces against Baylor the other night. Para with a big swing, and Melanie, that time with the good set, able to really put a lot of power behind that swing.
Well, and it's so player of the year right here. Bump set, off the net, inside, all the hard bad things, but she makes it look beautiful and amazing.
That one caught the net and caused all kinds of problems for TCU. Mia Wesley will serve. Para. Contreras with the dig. Williams with the kill. Ren Williams leading the Red Raiders here with 9 kills on the match.
And, you know, Williams, this entire match, coming at it hard, taking big swings. She's not going to let up. So a key player for the Red Raiders between her and Merrick and Wesley.
Back row attack. Jalen Gibson off the perfect set that time from Lily Nicholson. Nicholson knew exactly what she wanted to do with that ball before she even got it.
And that back row attack from Gibson and also from Melanie Parra that you'll see for the Horned Frogs has really been such a key part of their offense throughout the season.
Somehow that ball got over the net, but Bramschreiber's there to terminate it. It was a great serve by Melanie Parra, but an even better job of getting it up and over.
And this fast set out to the pin for Bramschreiber. So as an undersized player playing outside, that fast set, that's the key right there.
Melanie Parra had 7 aces the other night against Houston. TCU with the point. And again, it's Bramschreiber for the Horned Frogs. Sess with 5 kills for the match, and a timeout taken by Texas Tech here as TCU has a 2-point lead. Timeout might have been just to try and ice Melanie Parra a little bit at the service line. The last couple of serves from her have been really good. And she comes up short on that one. So it breaks the 3-0 scoring run for TCU and makes it a 1-point set.
And TCU did sub out setter Stephanie Young. Lily Nicholson, who you're used to seeing as the setter for TCU, she's back. I think running that offense is key right now for TCU.
Back row attack from Melanie Parra, but that one is wide, side out, Texas Tech. And we're tied at 20. Aaliyah McDonald, another graduate student at a Pearland and an Oregon State transfer at the service line. TCU problems with the serve and never quite got organized. And a timeout taken by Jason Williams.
And tough for Coach Williams right now. Seth Bramshire, we're having a great match so far. This is a moment, though, that's so clutch and key. That last play.
Where it is.
And really, I think if TCU sides out here, they're looking good. They're back in their rhythm. If not, we might see some substitutions.
Lennon with the serve. Melanie Parra with the roll shot. It's coming down the pipe, but a little bit different tactic that time by Melanie Parra. Instead of the big swing, she goes to the off-speed ball.
Definitely a surprising swing, but more surprising for the Red Raider defense.
7 kills now for Parra. Outside Williams. And TCU has really not had an answer for Bren Williams tonight, the 5'10" junior from Mansfield. Double-digit kills for her now at 10. Punch to the air by Tech. That ball behind Melanie Parra. She's able to get it over. And that ball out, but touched by TCU.
And that's that get us out of this rally set to Merrick. Again, right side player, that's kind of their job, is to end that rally, the finisher. And that's exactly what Merrick is. You know, not only being lefty, but man, what a heavy arm.
A 2-point lead for Texas Tech here as we get our first look at Evan Hendricks tonight. There is Hendricks, big swing, dug out. We go to the outside for Williams. TCU able to dig it. Back to Hendricks. And that's what Evan Hendricks brings to the party right there. The ability to spring off the floor in a hurry.
And I was going to say, spring off the floor after being on the bench for almost 2 sets. So I don't know many people that can do that physically. That's what's so amazing to me about Hendricks. just the ability to come out and immediately contribute.
Sylvester on the overpass. Nice dig, though, by Tech, and the point again by Williams, as that one glanced off the TCU blocker's hands. And it's set point for Texas Tech, trying to even things up at 1 set apiece. Simone Overbeck with the serve. Gibson, big swing cross court. 9th kill of the match for Gibson. Still set point, however, for Tech.
And I think Gibson is the person that TCU wants to look to right now. She has been so incredibly consistent, and I'm so impressed with her patience staying behind.
Immediately picks up an ace to tie the set at 24. Schreiber trying to give TCU the lead here in the second set. Goes down the line. And set the outside. Wesley with the swing, partially blocked by TCU. Melanie Para. And it's set point, Horned Frogs. Again, when you need a point, go to Melanie Para.
And this is the exact get out of jail free card scenario. Get the ball to Para. It's still an out of system. It's still a bump set. So she makes a lot of sets look like they're meant to be where they are, but the ones that aren't meant for that first round.
Get a look at TCU's offense. Lily Nicholson, the starting setter, back in the match for the Horned Frogs. She was in there near the tail end of that second set. Nicholson with a quick set in the middle for Sylvester on the overpass. Para. They go to the outside for Williams. TCU were able to get it over on the third ball. And they come right back in the middle. And that is McDonald for Tech.
And Aaliyah McDonald came in the last set at the very end, and I think this is one of the reasons here is just running such a quick set out of the middle.
Melanie Para had it dug out. Nicholson goes right back to Para, and Melanie with the kill, now with 9.
9 and another sharp angle hit. Off speed, all sorts of things going on with the Melanie Para offensive tool bag tonight.
Jalen Clark, who had a 5-0 scoring run for the Horned Frogs earlier at the service line. Another tough ball to handle. Every serve that she has is short, and Tech doesn't seem to be really adjusting to it.
Well, and it really is just kind of a traffic area, that short in front of the 10-foot line area. That's where your middle blocker is running to get in position. Your setter is running. A lot of people are making switches.
Nicholson backside set for Gibson. And Jalen with the swing and the kill. Double digits now for Jalen Gibson. She's got 10 kills.
And on fire tonight, really. Just go to, you can see here, speeding up to the ball is just something that stands out so much to me compared to the Jalen Gibson we've seen all season, is regardless of the set, she's staying patient, she's staying behind it and then exploding into it.
Quick set, Robson able to get it over. Nicholson just pushes it across. Para. A lot of power behind that swing by Melanie. She's got 10 kills.
And lots of defensive effort by TCU and hustle from setter Lily Nicholson. to just get Para a hittable, straight up and down kind of ball.
And again, a great job by Jalen Clark, and she's wreaked havoc at the service line. And that time TCU couldn't get the block up quick enough on the swing in the middle that time by McDonald. Originally from Pearland, Texas. And Bren Williams will serve here for Texas Tech. Perfectly timed block by McDonald.
And I really think that high of an out-of-system set for Jalen Gibson here. She's got to take a big risk and a big swing. With how she's been playing, it's almost like she's allowed to do that. And obviously a great timed block pressing low and over by Tech.
Alexis Robertson with the kill. Robertson, the more offensive of the two TCU middles. Sylvester a little bit more defensive minded, and another ace for the Horned Frogs. That's their 8th of the match. This time it's Jalen Gibson with her first. You see the total aces, and TCU's really made and hay using the serve tonight, although Gibson comes up short with that one.
Yeah, I think a few key points to make. Coach Williams, wanted to clean up the offense, wanted to make their serve a little bit more aggressive. So I think just compared to TCU's road trip last week against Kansas teams, that's the difference here, is we're seeing the offense picking up and that serve really picking up.
Blocked at the net that time by Merrick, and it was just a set that was almost impossible for Para to handle. She just sort of used her one hand and tried to shove it across the net. Correa, the serve. Robertson off the one-legged attack, and that time, not sure if Robertson got it or if it was just short on that swing by Linen. Now, TCU trying to finish off their home season 14-1. Their only loss coming to Arizona State, as we showed you earlier when we looked at league standings. They've only lost once in conference play and only twice all year long, and that was a point for the Horned Frogs with Melanie Para at the service line. And if you can play as well as TCU has at home, you're going to end up with a good record at the end of the season no matter what.
And TCU's really getting Texas Tech into trouble offensively, starting with the serve.
Another service ace for TCU and Melanie Para. 9th service ace for the Horned Frogs. Just the first for Para in this match, coming off a 7-ace affair against Houston on Wednesday.
And I think this might be the most aces so far in a match, at least this far along.
Evan Hendricks. Hendricks had been in the starting lineup for TCU up until tonight. Over the last 6 or 7 matches, coming off the bench here this evening, and a timeout taken by Texas Tech as the Frogs are on a 4-0 run. We'll take a timeout with the teams, back with more of the. Let's take a look at the comparison between the two leading scorers, Jalen Gibson for the Horned Frogs and Bren Williamson for Texas Tech.
So definitely two top scorers, two very different styles of play. Gibson a little bit more effective with that .412 hitting percentage, but very even with those amount of kills with 10 versus Williams 11. I do think two different styles though. So Gibson quicker, a little bit more dynamic, but I think Williams also super athletic, able to hit over most of the blockers.
And again, it's the lefty Merrick with the kill. 5th for her. That breaks the 4-0 scoring run for the Horned Frogs.
And Merrick just kind of like, let's get out of this rally player, you know, get the ball to Merrick, and especially in system. I just think with her height, with her power, and then you add that lefty scenario in there, it's difficult to defend.
Hendricks saw an opening down the line, no blocker in front of her, and just absolutely destroys this ball.
And the springy attacker that she is, she pops up and hits it down the line super quick.
Alice Volpe will serve. Hendricks last week 19 kills, 29 digs. She's been an outstanding performer since coming off the injured list earlier in the year. That one off the hands of the TCU blockers. I think Stephanie Young got a piece of it. Mia Wesley will serve. Melanie Parra was in the way of that and jumped out away from the ball and let it sail past the end line. Good recognition by her.
It's a good thing it didn't tag her.
Young with the serve for TCU. Outside, and this time Williams has it blocked. Sylvester was right there. Sarah Sylvester doing a good job of closing up.
And that's why you hear people cheer, nice roof. That is the Sarah Sylvester roof that everyone's talking about.
7th block for the Horned Frogs. 9 of them for Texas Tech, and going for the dump that time was Hannah Bora. She came up short. Another 3-0 scoring run for the Horned Frogs as Stephanie Young will serve. Serves it deep and out of bounds. Well, Nicholson will rotate in for Stephanie Young. Reagan Linen will serve. Volpe with the bump set for Gibson.
And another out of system, Gibson exploding to attack this ball. So very difficult to do, the set coming from that far away and behind her, having to kind of have the right angle and wait on your approach to attack the ball.
Get a look at the numbers for Gibson there. Good night for Jalen. Seth Bramschreiber, who was at the service line, had a couple of aces to finish off last set. And Williams comes right back and goes down the line for the kill. Williams, 12 kills now.
And I think for Texas Tech, just rallying off some errors here, giving TCU some of these runs. TCU also continuing to put pressure on with their serve.
Actually, that ball was out. My mistake. There's a point for the Horned Frogs. Williams had it blocked. Gibson had it blocked as well. Parra has to go to the tip as that ball was too close to the net. Williams again, and it's Sarah Sylvester. And TCU finally getting a little bit wise to Williams along this left pin.
And a really good recognition here by TCU blockers, recognizing it's inside. You can see Jalen Gibson kind of drops her hands inside the court to take away that shot.
So again, another great run at the service line for Seth Bramschreiber. That one clips the tape. Williams, big swing, able to sneak that one inside the end line and end the scoring run for the Horned Frogs. But TCU's been able to get on a number of these 3-0, 4-0 scoring runs all night long, and that's why they've controlled this match for the most part, although it was very close in overtime in the second set. Williams, and again it's blocked. That one stays in bounds off the block by Sarah Sylvester.
And the TCU block so keyed in on Williams, rightfully so, understanding that she is leading the Red Raiders in attacks. But you can see the timing there is what it's all about, is just delaying and then staying low and over there.
Sylvester having a laugh with Becca Kelly. Nice dig by Nicholson. Melanie Parra got a piece of it at the net. She's got a big smile on her face. It's not the way she had it planned, but it worked out.
I almost need to see that like in slow motion just to really dissect what even went on. But it all happened while Melanie Parra was just in the air hanging out. She was able to get it over and get it down.
Having some fun here tonight in her final regular season home match. Williams with the kill.
And I think Williams is just letting out some frustration from the previous swing. She's finding that deep kind of corner area that's really hard for anyone, and Alice Volpe in this case, to really dig and read.
Parra just flipped it over the net, and she's going to score the point. Now, Melanie showing off just about every way to score here in this third set.
That's exactly it, and that's what tells me that TCU is really just playing so free and loose, and you know that when hitters are just, I mean, not only everyone's smiling and having a good time, but just going for it, like not really holding back with anything.
Becca Kelly into the match. That one is long. Attack error on Texas Tech. The Red Raiders hitting negative now, 0-45 for the set. As Wesley's been relatively quiet, 7 kills for her, but most of them coming in the first set and a half. Kelly on the way down, got a piece of it, and Melanie Parra cleans up the trash at the net.
I mean, it's really unbelievable because what we're seeing, it looks so easy. She makes everything look so easy, and really what it is her footwork, getting to this ball and recognizing this opportunity here. And wow, look at where that ball landed, the sideline and the 10-foot line.
Wesley had it dug out by Volpe. Melanie Parra had it blocked. They go right back to her. Becca Kelly just punched it over. They'll try Melanie Parra one more time, and she scores.
And one thing I want to note is Melanie Parra came to TCU from UT just wanting to play volleyball. That's exactly what she said. I want to play. I want to be out there. She's enjoying herself. She's hitting with a smile. And, you know, this is so perfect, you know, being senior night and her last home match at Schulmeyer Arena.
Service ace for TCU. Ashley Borland, the senior, getting some time and a chance to close it out here for the Horned Frogs as they look for the sweep. 5-0 run for TCU. Match point. Volpe gets it up. Parra bumps it over. Big swing by Mia Wesley. And that'll end the 5-0 scoring run, but TCU will still have match point.
And Wesley happy to get that in-system swing there and really utilize that space between the TCU blockers.
Still, next point.